Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and this January 8th marked 1 year from when I graduated as a student of General Assembly, which is really cool. I mean, it's been a hell of a year. Just again, for those of you who aren't familiar with my backstory, I've always been interested in technology, always been interested in coding, even when I was a little kid. And I did things that were tangential with coding, like I would play with like RPG Maker 2000 to make little RPG games that, while didn't involve coding, involved scripting using sort of like buttons, which required you to kind of keep track of variables, if statements, things, loops, to create kind of, cutscenes, stuff like that. I would use things like FL Studio to produce music, which also had like a lot of sort of scripting of events and conditional thinking and whatnot that kind of helped reinforce a lot of those programming concepts in my head. I would do some basic web design, particularly in HTML, CSS, and I spent the semester as a computer science student. I did change my major and kind of spent the next 4 years studying culture and anthropology and sociology, and then spent a decade in finance. I have had a fairly random, interesting life. If you would like to know more about my life story, go check out my branding and marketing podcast, Brand Me Merced, or Brand Me Alex Merced, where I talk about my life and then apply, lessons in branding and marketing from that. So that's a thing. But yeah, I have been a developer for now, officially for a year, because it was in 2019 where I decided to transition from training people in finance to actually full-time coding, to actually like get good enough at coding that I can use it at a practical level. Because I've had only dabbled in really just in C++ beforehand. Never touched JavaScript until 2019. Now it's like my second hand, or my third hand, I guess. Um, so in 2019, September. So basically, in 2019, around July, June is when I started like teaching myself coding. And then it was in September 2019 that I started my cohort at General Assembly, and which I graduated on January 8th. And come January 8th, I had a full-time job with Crossfield Digital, and I have I had a full-time role as an instructor at General Assembly. And it's been a hell of a year. I've now in the process of teaching 7 cohorts, like over since I started 7 cohorts total. Um, and I've taught a lot of people, which I've gotten to see a lot of people grow from being new developers to being developers. I've seen my own skills grow in time because every time you teach somebody, every time you help people troubleshoot, you get better. And so having being teaching day in and day out, helping people troubleshoot their code, recoding different exercises to kind of show people and explain people what those exercises do, has really, really, really sharpened my own skills. Expand. I've learned a few new languages because I mean, when I did my cohort was with JavaScript and PHP were the 2 languages we learned. Um, and then I've taught cohorts where we did JavaScript and Ruby, JavaScript and Python. So my skills in those other languages, like Python, I had done before I did my cohort as a student, but really got to like get familiar and comfortable. And also at the same time, I've been teaching myself as much as I can. I've gotten really deep into all the major front end frameworks. You can go head over to devnursery.com and just see the plethora of videos I have. I have videos on pretty much every programming language you can think of, most frameworks, because I really wanted to take this first year as a developer, as a year to really, really build my brand, establish that I exist in this space, but also learn. Um, you know, uh, I can't make up for what I did from my younger days, but what I can do is put in the effort to grow as fast as possible. And I think I really did that this year. I'm really proud of how this year went, because not only did I have the 2 jobs, but I mean I put out getting close to 1,000 videos over there on YouTube, covering pretty much any kind of programming language you can think of, framework you can build up. Built a few apps, nothing crazy. But what I'm really excited about is I built a lot of libraries. I built a lot of code libraries that I published on npm. Libraries to help you create REST APIs, libraries to help you build front ends using web components, libraries to generate new projects with several different templates that I've created. Lots of pretty cool things that I'm very happy with how they turned out. So I was pretty stoked with sort of the progress of everything I had built. Um, On top of that, I've had this podcast. This podcast has grown quite a bit, and all my other podcasts and all the other projects that I'm involved in. And recently, I got voted on to the product advisory board over there at GA, which is like the board that helps sort of like work on sort of what new products, the direction of products, which is pretty exciting. I mean, like that is an honor for me, especially being so sort of new to the industry, to have been able to earn the respect of my peers enough during this time to get to be voted on there. Again, I had to be voted on among many applicants. So that was also very awesome. So bottom line, it's been an amazing year. I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot. And I tell you this, for you listening to this episode, I'm not telling you this because, hey, look, Alex is so cool. No, I'm telling you this because many of you are listening to this because you're looking to make changes in your own life. You're considering coding, or you are a coder. And if you are a coder and you've been a coder, hopefully this sort of just maybe reignites some of that passion you once had when you first started, to push yourself to learn some more and try out some new things. If you're someone who's new to coding, hopefully this helps build that passion and show you why it's important to have that passion for learning, for growing in this particular industry, and to show you that you can do it. You can make that shift. You can make that leap. You just gotta believe in yourself, and when you do it, you gotta do it. You can't be timid about it. You gotta jump in there, build your name up, brand yourself, learn as much as you can. You have to throw everything but the kitchen sink at it, and you will succeed in ways that you've only dreamed of. I know that my work-life balance this year, the personal successes I've had in 2020, despite the craziness of the year in general for everybody, it was one of the most rewarding years I've ever had. And 2021 seems like it'll continue to go in the same direction. So just wanted to share that. There are a lot of cool things that I will do upcoming episodes on. One thing I will mention is in the blockchain space, there's an interesting thing called Blockstack that I just learned about. That I'm probably at some point I'm going to want to learn more about, because Blockstack offers you the ability to build applications on top of it. That's not new. You can build applications on top of Ethereum, Waves, all these other blockchains. But what I find really interesting is that it's built on top of Bitcoin. Okay, so like that gives it a certain level of sustainability. But it has like things like built-in authentication, where so basically you can create an application. Like a good example is Siggle.io, Sigle. It's a blogging application. It's a really simple blogging application. Basically you write blog posts and you have a page where you can see those blog posts. But there's no server per se that's hosting it. It's the data is stored on the blockchain. Your username and all that stuff is really your address on the Blockstack blockchain, which is again a blockchain built on top of Bitcoin. So it shares its computing power. So there's no one that can flip a switch and turn it off. There's no like AWS we can say, hey, you can't have this website here anymore. There's people at Siggle cannot get rid of your content. Your content exists. So because it's decentralized. Again, that's the sort of nature of blockchain, where basically there is no sort of head to cut off. It just exists. And I find that technology really interesting. One, I mean, the idea of just using blockchain for authentication is pretty appealing. But also just using it to save information and save user data. I mean, it really serves the person who makes the application. That kind of protects them from like the liability, because like if they don't have control, if they really truly do not have control over the data, like it gives them some level of legal protection, I think. I'm not a legal expert. But also provides the user protection of their data, which can be good or bad. I mean, if you put something that gets you that clearly demonstrates you've broken the law, well, you can't clean it up. So you got to be careful what you put on there too. But I find that technology very fascinating. I find decentralization very fascinating, interesting, and empowering. And I just figured I'd mention that because that's a web application that's built on top of the blockchain. And I've imagined things like that before, but this is the first time I'm actually really seeing it sort of effectively in action. And I'm kind of excited about it. So my name's Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com. Go head over to alexmercedcoder.com. I've been posting a lot of new articles over there on the blog. So there's a lot of great content on Git, a lot of stuff just about understanding things conceptually, like Git, like Bash, like deployment, for those who like they know how to do the thing, but they're not quite sure what they're doing when they do the thing. Hopefully that'll be beneficial to you. So go check that out over there at alexmercedcoder.com. Have a great day and enjoy. My name is Alex Merced. Enjoy.